Welcome to episode 2 of Reflection Talks. My name is Isabella Pancaldi and I will be your host for today. I am the Youth Project Manager at CPIE Rinascita, and Reflection Talks is the theme of our Refl'Action Vidcast Series. For the ones wondering what a vidcast is, it is simple podcast that contains video content. So the series includes 4 episodes for April 2022 to May 2023, and each episode will explore a different topic related to the use of reflection as a practice to promote the well-being and transferability of learning to empower young people. For the ones who watch us for the first time, Refl'Action is a project that focuses mainly on using reflection as a practice to promote the well-being and transferability of learning to empower young people, as well to promote an active lifestyle at conscious growth. The project has received funding from the European Union Erasmus Plus program and is implemented from December 2021 until May 2023. It involves 3 partners from France, Greece, and Italy. So what else? Let's start. The topic of our episode is what are the tools to develop reflection in young people? Let me introduce you to the guest for today is Mathilda Olive. She's a pedagogical trainer at Corsican Sport and the Youth Center. Mathilda has been working in education and pedagogical field since 2014, and her curiosity for the world, lifelong learning and human functioning led her to Australia, where she obtained her degree in communication, group dynamics, and team development. She's really passionate of outdoor sports. She naturally passed a sports certificate to use nature as a working tool in the management of groups. And in 2012, she completed the International Long-Term Via Experiencia training program, where she became aware of the power of experiential learning on human development. And then after several years as project coordinator and independent facilitator, she now works for the public service, where she develops international partnerships in connection with sports, education, and training. And she offers to enhance experiential learning methodology in carrying out activities. When she's not working for the emancipation of individuals, she tries to transpose all of her ideas to other people. She likes to hikes. She challenges friends and family to board games and goes sliding on a snowboard with her partner in the Alps. So I think that we can welcome Mathilda. Would you like to introduce yourself, or do you have something to say?
I think that was a pretty complete introduction. Thank you very much for hosting me today. Maybe what I can say just before starting is that I'm really glad that you are interviewing me because, as you said, I develop international mobilities, and it's seeing you in this position, leading an international project about reflections, seems that it's like something that we are planting seed and it's growing. So I'm really glad that you're doing this. Thank you.
We have asked Mathilda to the reflection audience to send some questions so we can see what the audience wants to know about reflection. Maybe you wanted just to tell us what reflexive practices are to you so that we can maybe explain a little bit about this practice that you use with young people.
Yeah, reflection is it's maybe it's easier to explain it what it's not, because a lot of educators or facilitators can tell also that it's a debriefing, but for me it's quite different because debriefing is more focused on the technical part and what we did good, what we did wrong. Like, for example, military said we do an action and we make it good or bad. But reflection is really different because it's focused on the emotion, on what the participant felt during the activity and how it makes him get more aware of the processes that goes internally, to help him to actually adapt the comportment, the skills, the attitude to a future, so it can actually build the individual. So it's more like a space to give to participants to have some reflection about themselves, about the group, about the others. And it's complex, but very, very useful, in my opinion, to develop individuals and youngsters.
And what do you think are the benefits of reflective practices used for the educator and the young person?
I think it depends on the objective of the project or the training you are leading, of course. Benefits can be different on different levels. It's the same for educators or participants. As I said, it can be very personal, being aware of yourself, the way you act in a specific group, or to deal with your own emotions. It can be on interpersonal level, which is how to use the other participant to mirror your own attitude, or that you can adapt to each other. It can make you realize that the difference is more an opportunity than a difficulty, an opportunity to grow, of course. And also it can be, I think, thought on a group level. I think reflection accelerates the group dynamics. And if you accelerate the group dynamics, you accelerate the intimacy between people, and actually you can be more efficient regarding a specific result. So it helps to evolve the harmony between the members. I think it's important also to say that it's not only addressed to young people, because it can be at any age, any target, any profile, any background, and reflection can be used at any time, at any moment, in my opinion. So yeah.
Thank you, Mathilda, for this clear explanation. Now, if we want to speak more about the role maybe of the trainers, do you think that a trainer should have specific competencies or skills to facilitate individual learning?
Competencies, yes. This is a real job, in my opinion, but I think there's not only one way to be a facilitator. So the most useful facilitator, because we don't talk about good or bad facilitator, in my opinion, we talk about useful facilitator, is the facilitator who are themselves. That's very complex. So maybe the core competency could be to be open and willing to develop oneself always more and always deeper. And of course, there are some techniques you can develop to make a better, more useful facilitator. For example, you can develop active listening. You can develop the presence, which can take different roles. It can be in silence, it can be with eye connection. It can be also for mediation during confrontation, for example, of your group. It can be supportive, it can be questioning, etc. You can also develop empathy, because emotions, as you believe, it's a very important part of the reflection part. You can also develop your awareness of your own emotions and how to feel the group, or feel also yourself, and what influences the group. Congruence also, I think, it's a good thing to develop. It's when your verbal, non-verbal, and paraverbal, like the intonation you put in your sentences, are saying the same thing, for example. So it's like full communication, to be completely aware with the participants in the group. But yeah, that's a life project.
Really based on communication.
Yeah, I think so.
And do you think that the only use of reflection practices is enough to develop a strong, healthy character?
I think reflection should be based on an experience, because can you imagine like a group or participants doing reflection of a reflection of a reflection? I mean, that would be boring at some point, and you will lose the rhythm of the program. So that would be very intense, and I think the balance is important between activity and reflection, because you can lead to a lot of new things, a lot of new discoveries, depending on the kind of activity you do. And it can provide food for reflection in a new way. So I think strong and healthy character can be developed by balancing between the action and the reflection, and letting this space to reflection. So it will be more meaningful, and if we can add some reflection to it, I think.
So yes, you say that reflective practices like help people to improve motivation and to boost the character of young people, maybe helping them to be more self-confident.
Yeah, I guess so.
So now, if we take a look at the practical tools, because I think that people also want to know more practical tools, you have a very strong experience as a trainer. Do you think that are there any specific methods or tools to develop reflective practices that you can share with us so we can maybe try to use them?
The methods, I think there's not a specific method or a tool, because leading a reflection, I think it's a very personal input. You can have an impact on a group, and following a specific method can actually break the link with the reality of what's going on in the group. But I think the tool is to be yourself with a little step back on what's going on. So you need, of course, to have a background of theories. You need some experience also on how to lead a reflection, because it's not only leaving the space to the group, it's like more being a facilitator and experience what's going on in the group. So if you are interested in this kind of methodology or more tool, I think it's important that you participate in a training course where you are a participant and you feel what a participant could feel actually in such experience. So, for example, I did my own training course 10 years ago, and I did it because I wanted to learn a bit more about myself in a group, but actually I realized the power of it on a daily basis, that I'm actually working with it now. So it's experiential learning, basically. Like, you learn from the experience, and yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you for sharing with us all your tools and ideas. What is the position maybe of the trainer in using reflective practices with young people? You think that the trainer should have a specific position?
I think, yes, of course, trainers should have a posture. And I will give you a frustrating answer. It depends when and how. You can adapt your posture depending on the need of the group and the participants. It's a complex dynamic being in a group, and people are in constant evolution. So this evolution is enhanced by the reflection, and it means that reflection can happen at different stages of the group dynamic. You can, if you're already a trainer, you know that in action, trainer can have different posture. You can be a coordinator, you can be an observer, you can be a participant. You can even confront the group. So it's more or less the same thing that using the reflection, but depending on the group maturity, facilitators should, for example, lead the reflection at the beginning, giving the space to speak to everyone. You can create the atmosphere, so being more in a leader place. Or you can question in silence. You can help to emerge different opinions, for example, have more mediation posture to help the group to evolve. He or she can adapt at the contrary. You can participate fully at the answering the question, like feeling what's going on in the group by sharing their own feeling as well. For example, I think introductions or conclusions are important to be participant in the group. So yeah, all of this posture can be within yourself. It's not only one or the other. We are more comfortable with one or another, but I think it's important to develop all those roles and postures to adapt to the need of the group.
Yeah, so it really depends on the group and its dynamic.
Yeah.
It really depends, yeah. But for the people following us, do you have some methods or activities you integrate in your reflective practices? Something that you do with young people, and you know that it works really, really well?
I think if you use activities, active activities, you can also balance with creative activities on the reflection. Personally, I use a lot of verbalization and questioning. That's the most easiest part to put in a reflection. But sometimes for the youngsters, verbalizing is not so easy. So you can use, for example, we call it photo language. It's images where you can have a metaphor of a message, and you can put all the cards on the board, and the youngsters can, the youth can choose one card that represents something you want to explore during the reflection. And if the young cannot express or does not know how to describe the card, maybe you can help with the group how do you see the card. So it's actually giving the person a reflection of the feeling and the expression of the feeling. So you can also have, for example, creativity like drawing or painting, creating bonds between the people. You can use, I don't know, like modeling clay, or you can use also the space, like asking people to place yourself regarding the result or regarding your motivation during the activity. Or you can also use nature. I love to use nature, like asking people to take an object from the outside and come back and explain why they chose this object from the landscape and how it represents the topic you want to explore.
Thank
There
you.
are many ways to develop reflection, but you have to be creative and trust what you want to do.
Amazing examples. I think they are really powerful to support imagination on these kind of activities. And if I understand, nature plays such an important role for you in the young people experiences. So speaking of that, how does reflection affect the mental health of young people?
I don't consider myself as a specialist of mental health, but what I understand from mental health would be to be in a position that you are comfortable enough and flexible enough to grow and develop yourself in a conscious way. So I maybe I link it to emancipation of individuals. So in that sense, I believe that reflection can support, really support the awareness of individual about their own processes. Group and facilitator can support participants to reinforce helping behaviors, so what they are doing positively regarding themselves, but also limiting attitudes that can lead to possible change. When a participant or an individual can be aware of something about themselves, they can have the responsibility to change or to experience other skills or other attitudes. So it's like the responsibility, the ability to respond to this awareness. So sometimes you're being aware of something and you decide that, okay, it's good enough like this, so I stay the same and I can just reinforce it. So the more we know about ourselves, the more we are able to react in a constructive way and positive way in different situations, which helping also the social cohesion, in my opinion. And that's what we really need at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. When you're more aware of yourself, of your weaknesses and strengths, you say it's easier to face the situations in a positive way. Okay, but how can a young person be persuaded to adopt reflective practices in his life?
That's a very good question. I think as an educator, we all want to persuade our participant to adopt good practices, a healthy lifestyle, be emancipated, and also to train their friend to become like that. But I also think it's important as an educator to not persuade too much and to keep the respect that we have for participants to decide what they need and what they want. So what our role is, I think, is more showing the opportunities that the reflection can open. And using, for example, reflection on daily basis can be very challenging because sometimes participants don't want to go too deep or too quick. And it's their choice. We have to respect that. We cannot force anyone to do anything. And if you have a group of participants, for example, who are not aware of what can be the good thing or the thing useful you think about reflection, you can actually ask them, okay, what are we doing here? What is the meaning of it? What do you want from it? And I think if the participant can be aware of what it can bring it to their daily life, there will be more ability to do it on their own by the side. So if they understand, they will use it. But for that, we need to make them experience.
Okay, but maybe there are some moments in which young people are more open to go deeper into the reflection. I was thinking about discussion. Why is the time for discussion, you think, so important in a group?
Time and discussion is important, but it's more the space that is important. You can really have short reflections that can be very intense, but and the too long ones, they can lose the energy of the group. So I think it's important that also allow silence, and the work is not only during the reflection. I think informal time are also very important to let the group digest what's going on, and the group evolve at all times. So discussion has a rhythm with it. We have to adapt to the group.
Okay. So what else can we add? Your answers, Mathilda, were perfect and clear. We really feel that you have a lot of experience in using reflection in your job. So thank you very much for accepting in this chat with us and being our guest today. Would you like to add something else?
I think that's an amazing methodology to use experiential learning and reflection. So I invite all the persons who are interested in that to digger a little bit this topic, because you can really learn about yourself and also about the others using this. So that's a great opportunity. Thank you also for hosting me today.
Thank you. So that was episode 2 of the Reflection Talks. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and stay up to date. Stay tuned for the next episode.